Hello again. I'm glad to be back. Today I'm alone. Next time, probably someone else will be with me. But I wanted to be sure to get another recording out to all of you. Today is July the 29th of 2020. It is lovely here where I am, sunny and bright and not too hot and humid. I hope that it is a bit cooler where you are as well. So today we'll run the service similar to what we've always done, trying to be consistent. Hopefully that is appreciated. Usually some sense of having a sense of knowing what's coming and how it's going to be is a sense of familiarity and a comfort. So I hope that's the case. That's why we do it this way. So I'll go and light the candles and the incense, and then I will come back. We'll chant the phrases of universal well-being, and then we'll do a brief guided meditation. Then I'll have some reflections, want to share some brief reading with you, talk about it a bit, and then we'll have our dedication of merit and close, exactly as it's been prior weeks. Now let us chant the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. So gently closing your eyes, adjusting the body in whatever way you need in order for it to be upright yet alert, comfortable, at ease. Letting the structure of the body itself support, take the weight, requiring the muscles to do very little, just letting the bony structure of the body support and lift. Taking a moment to really connect with how is the body right now. Are the shoulders hunched? Can I maybe roll them back and down? Can I lengthen the spine? Can I make sure the feet are, if you're sitting, that they're solidly placed on the ground? If you're in a chair, if you're on the floor, that you're either kneeling or cross-legged. Just having a sense of the whole body sitting. Not being the boss of the body. Letting the body find its own positioning and comfort. Taking the lead from the body. And then perhaps, just as the chant said, checking in with your intention right now. Can you have an intention to just open to this moment, whatever it's offering? To not be establishing requirements for how the mind is, how the body is, how the environment is. To really bring a heart that is willing, open, kind, accepting of this moment exactly as it is. Not weighing yourself down with expectations about what you will do or what the meditation will bring or what the results will be. Just having a sincere curiosity and interest in each moment as it arises and unfolds. Doing that through the experience of breathing. Just connecting to each breath as we breathe in and out. Staying alert and interested in each breath. What will the next one be like? When will it arise? How long will it last? Just being present, moment by moment, this incredible gift of the breath. Letting each breath roll in, be present for a bit, and then release, exhale. and not rushing the next one. Being receptive and available for whenever that next breath arises. Letting the breath breathe itself. Sometimes when we hear the instruction, breathing in, breathing out, maybe we think we are doing the breathing. We take control. We make the body breathe in, make the body breathe out. You can do that, but that's not easeful. That's stressful. Instead, we're letting the body take charge. And we're just the present for the ride. We're riding the wave on the surfboard. The surfer doesn't make the waves come along, crest and fall. The surfer just rides them. That's what we're doing. We're just the surfer, letting the body breathe the waves. Notice how much more easeful, peaceful that is when you don't need to take charge. When the sense of me and mine, the ego self, can just step back and just be with this body breathing. So see if you can't release as many expectations, desires, plans for this period of meditation. And just surf the wave of the breath. Just like a surfer, we can't zone out as we're doing that. We need to notice, oh, here comes a really big one. So we're attentive and alert to what the breath is doing. We're mindful. We keep it in mind. We know we're not in charge of it, but we're completely present with it as continuously as possible. Allowing the rhythm of the rise and the fall to be a comfort. When you lose track, the mind gets dull, lacks alertness, or gets restless, agitated. That happens. Don't make it a problem. But recognize that's what has happened. And don't feed it. So we feed dullness by staying absent, by letting the mind just fall into the dullness. So to counteract dullness, we need more energy. So you straighten the body. Maybe take one slightly deeper breath. Maybe open the eyes wider, let in light. To counteract restlessness, become aware that the mind is ricocheting all over the place. And reassert your intention to be aware of and present with the breath. Letting where all those other thoughts or ideas or plans go, releasing them. You can go back to them later. But now you're just going to return to the breath. It doesn't matter how many times we have to do that. Each time we do it, we get slightly stronger. We weaken the ruts in the mind that just allow it to run wild. So hello again. I wonder how you all are doing. This is certainly a very challenging time, but it's always pretty challenging for you where you are. And I think the resources that you've developed before this are the same resources you need during this time. It's maybe more extended, more long-lasting than the challenges have been before. But they're probably challenges you've faced many times during your incarceration. And knowing that you can draw on those skills is what builds self-confidence. What keeps us from falling into overwhelm, into fear, into anger, into bitterness. So today I have an article by a monk named Nisro Bhikkhu. Some of you may have remembered I've spoken of him before. And I thought I'd read a bit of the article and then talk about it some. Because I think it's something that can apply all the time and hopefully can be a helpful reminder. So the title of the article is One Thing Clear Through. And it's from a talk that he gave in 2006. He says a recurrent theme in the teachings of the forest Ajahns, that's this lineage. Ajahn means teacher, of the forest teachers, is that all the steps of the practice are of a piece. In other words, having attained awakening, they don't say anything bad about the early steps in the practice. They don't say that they're only elementary and that you have to drop them to move on to the more important stuff. As one teacher said, the Dhamma is one thing clear through. Or as another teacher said, one of the realizations that comes when you hit awakening is that everything is the same teaching, starting from generosity and gratitude all the way through awakening. There are different levels of subtlety, but it's all the same principle. And you could see that in their lives. Even having attained awakening, they didn't just sit around and say now that their job was done, that they didn't have to do anything further. They were very industrious people. Ajahn Fuang, that's the teacher of this man who's writing the article, even when he was sick, would get out every morning and do some chore around the monastery. When we were doing construction work, he wasn't up to doing any of the heavy jobs, but at the very least, he would go out and pick up the thrown away nails. He was very frugal, very meticulous. So it's important to keep this principle in mind, that the practice here is a practice of generosity, of gratitude, of goodwill and kindness, all the way through. Look at the Buddha's teachings on the Four Noble Truths. What are they motivated by if not goodwill? The desire for an end of suffering, the desire for happiness that doesn't place any burdens on anyone else. What is that if not compassion? And look at the Buddha's teaching career. Wherever there was anyone ready to learn the Dhamma, he would go there. In those days, that meant going on foot. He traveled all over northern India on foot just to teach. Even the very last day of his life, he knew that there was one more person he had to teach before he entered total nibbana. So even though he was suffering from dysentery, he walked all the way to Kusinara, a full day's walk, because there was one more person. What this means in our practice is that we should value all levels of practice. It's not that you put time in with the elementary levels and then drop them as you move to higher ones. You simply add more and more levels of subtlety to your practice, more and more levels of generosity, of goodwill and gratitude. The Buddha started his teaching with a very basic, mundane right view, the teaching on karma, that actions have results. That's just what we chanted in the chant we just did. That intentional actions, whether they are skillful or harmful, that's what we will result. That's what we will experience. That their results will be our home. And the Ajahn now is continuing. He says the Buddha introduced karma with two teachings, one on gratitude, one on generosity. He started out saying that generosity is real. The gifts you give actually benefit you and the other person. This is something of real value. All the way through the abandoning of greed, anger, and delusion as an act of generosity, an act of goodwill towards ourselves and others. The less greed, anger, and delusion you have, the better off not only you are, but also everybody else. Think of all the suffering you've inflicted not only on yourself, but on other people through your anger, your greed, your delusion. You give these things up not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the people around you as well. Then there's the teaching on gratitude. And as the Buddha said, gratitude is a sign of a good person. If you don't appreciate the good that other people have done, it's very unlikely you're going to do good for anybody at all. So this is why we're generous. This is why we practice the precepts, why we're harmless. We meditate to train the mind so that it's harmless. Not only harmless, but also energetic. If you're not weighing yourself down with greed, anger, and delusion, you have a lot more energy to help other people. There's no place in the teachings where the Buddha encourages laziness. Even though he teaches contentment, it's contentment with material things you already have, so that you can devote yourself to building on that, and especially so that you can devote yourself to training the mind. But contentment doesn't mean that if you find your place dirty, you leave it dirty. Contentment means that if you have just a small place, you're content with your small place, but you make it a clean, small place. And I know that that's what so many of you do under very difficult circumstances in your cells, that you take very good care of them, that you really try to keep them clean when it's so hard to do so, when there's so little space and you're living with 2 people and your toilet's right there. It's hard to keep it clean, and you really do everything you can. That's wonderful practice. That's absolutely the sort of practice the Buddha encourages. And that sort of attitude towards keeping your place clean, not being lazy, noticing what's called for, that translates into your meditation. The sort of person who's energetic in keeping the place clean tends to be more energetic in meditating too. Once when I just arrived in Bangkok on some visa business, I was in the midst of cleaning my room, sweeping it, wiping it down. A Western monk who'd just returned from Burma knew that I might be there, so he came around to see me, and sure enough, I'd just come in. But as soon as he saw me wiping down the floor, he said, "You Thai monks, all you do is spend your time cleaning up. Over in Burma, we have other people who do that for us." And as you looked at the quality of his meditation, you could see that he was used to having people doing things for him. His meditation had gotten slack and sloppy as well. So don't think that the elementary practices are just for people at some elementary level. They're for everybody. That's how everybody gets started and everybody keeps going. You build on them. You don't abandon them. You include more and more subtle levels. But the basic levels stay there as well until, as the texts say, generosity is no longer something you do for your own sake or for the sake of other people. It becomes just a natural expression of the mind. All the steps of the practice become a natural expression of the mind once the mind is fully trained. So I share that because sometimes it's easy to forget the fundamentals. It's easy to start getting too complicated, too caught up, too caught in desire, too caught in greed, anger, and delusion. And so just remembering to go back to generosity, gratitude, goodwill. We should call that the 3 G's maybe. And keeping our intention moment by moment, incident by incident, action by action on that. In this moment, through my actions of body, speech, and mind right now, where is gratitude? Where is goodwill? Where is generosity? How can this action be imbued, be suffused, be filled with generosity, with goodwill, with gratitude? Because in fact, every moment can be. Everything we do can always be coming from that intention, from an intention of generosity, of goodwill, of gratitude. And those 3 heart intentions are what heals our heart, what opens our heart, what calms the heart, what allows us to drop our strong sense of self and wanting and desire, and instead to live to swim in this realm of generosity, goodwill, and gratitude. In the meditation, we talked about surfing the waves. So we can be surfing the waves of goodwill, generosity, and gratitude. And of course, those are just words. And it's up to each of us to investigate, well, what do those words mean to me? In any particular situation, what would it mean to bring generosity to this situation? Generosity, of course, is absolutely not economic exchange. It is so much bigger than that. It's bringing patience, kindness, willingness. But it is worth reflecting for yourself, what is generosity in my life? When I'm sitting down to meditate, how do I bring generosity to my meditation? That's actually a reflection I use quite often. To notice, is the mind in this moment generous? In my meditation, what I find is generosity in meditation means being willing to be with what is, being willing to be with whatever is being presented, whatever the mind is doing in this moment. Doesn't mean following it, giving into it, collapsing in the face of it, but it also doesn't mean having ill will towards it. It means knowing that maybe this morning the mind is very impatient, very restless, very agitated. So can I get interested? Can I get curious about what does that feel like? What's present? How do I know restlessness? What's it like in the body? Is the body all tensed up? If I pay attention to releasing some of the body, would that release some of the restlessness? Is there some sense in the mind of wanting to get rid of this restlessness, of a lack of goodwill towards this restlessness? Can that be released? Do I have an expectation that I won't be restless? And so when I am, I don't like it. So for each of us, this will be a different investigation. But to consider for yourself, what does that mean to reflect on generosity? What does this whole idea of generosity mean for me? What is goodwill? Does goodwill saying yes to everyone? Is that goodwill? No, I don't think so. We can absolutely stand up for ourselves, speak our mind, speak our heart, without wishing harm to other people. So goodwill is not wishing harm. It's wishing goodwill for ourselves, so that goodwill for ourselves may require that we speak up for ourselves. But how we do it is what matters. Do we do it in a way that intentionally causes harm on others, that is intended to punish others? Or we do it in a way to just speak our own truth, to take care of our own self without also intending to harm others? So examining again, what does goodwill mean to you? And then gratitude. Reflecting on this idea of all that we actually have been given in this life. The fact that we've been given life at all is a gift. That we've been given the air to breathe. That's a gift. As difficult as situations may be, that there are people who are doing things that we can benefit by. There are people who are wearing masks in order to be of help. We can have gratitude for that. There are people who are delivering supplies and food to the prison. we can have gratitude. So deciding for yourself, where does gratitude lie? Can I be grateful just for the fact of being born? Of having this chance to improve my life? Of having this chance to grow, to learn, to find greater ease and happiness for myself, and maybe even be of help to others. I can be very grateful for that. And I hope maybe you can too. So using your practice not as some sort of a test, a chore, an achievement, but staying with these fundamentals of generosity, gratitude, goodwill. Keeping those intentions topmost, primary in everything you do. And the more you do that, I promise you, you will see the results in your life, day by day, and in your meditation. Because those qualities, bringing those qualities to your meditation, are also what helps your meditation become a gift to yourself. Become a time when you can connect with ease, with clarity, with wisdom, when you can kind of step out of your personality, step away from all your ideas of who and what you are and who and what you should be and who and what other things people think of you, and instead just be with what's happening right now. And to be with it with an attitude of generosity, goodwill, and gratitude. So please do send comments or questions or requests to whoever runs this service for you. We would be happy to receive them. We will continue to make these. We hope they are of some help to you, some benefit. We very much keep you in our minds and hearts. We know you have what you need to be the very best person you can be, moment by moment. And we are awed and encouraged by your continuing efforts to do that. And your efforts to do that encourage me in my efforts to do the same. So let's end with our dedication of the merit. May the merit of our time together today support and nourish us. May we feel inner wealth so that we never feel poor and we can practice the joy of generosity. May we always offer goodwill, knowing we can't control the course of life, suffering, or death. May we see our own limits with compassion, just as we offer compassion to others. May our practice train the heart in clarity, kindness, and wisdom. And may all beings, not one left out, be well, be safe, and be free from suffering. So please be well, be safe, and be free from suffering. Keep in touch with the clarity of your intentions and stay grounded with generosity, goodwill, and gratitude. And I promise you, it will serve you well. Take care.